Okay, I'm the worst, and clearly I should have done a video explaining what I use, so that will follow. I'm so sorry. Anyway, surprise! Here's a forehead tutorial on what not to do. Don't do what I'm doing. Seriously, don't even watch this section. Fast forward to the eyes. If you're still watching, there's something wrong with you. But you know what? You're still cool with me, so I'll talk through this part too. I think I was nervous when I started the camera. I forgot how to shade. I cracked under the pressure of hearing the little ding. But yeah, if you're going to shade the forehead, don't use long streaking motions like me. As you can see, I keep lifting the darker values from the eyebrow and moving them across the forehead, hence why I keep going over the same spots. But I guess this is a good lesson on not giving up, right? Use circular motions like they teach you in school. Or don't. You know, anarchy. Just do you. Whatever's easiest to get to your goal, do it. Or you can struggle through it like me. In the part you saw me erasing the terrible shading, I was using my kneaded eraser to lift the highlights back out. Everyone's shaped differently, but in most cases, right above the eyebrow is broader, and it catches the light source, creating a shadow underneath the eye and a highlight right above. I feel like that statement sounded rehearsed, or like I was like reading aloud in class or something. Do you guys ever watch Invader Zim? I feel like in these like parts where I'm not talking, I should be like Gurr and sing like the Doom song. Like, I'm gonna sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doom. Side note, do not use your finger to smudge. I have the worst habit of doing this. I'm speeding up through this part because clearly my brain was not on the tutorial memo, and I started going onto the eyelid before I even did the eyebrow, so sorry about that. Actually, I take that back. My brain knew what I was doing. I was trying to get some of the eyelid done before I started laying in the eyebrow hairs, like the fine hairs at the end, so I wouldn't have to shade into it, kind of like how I did on the forehead. So now you'll see me kind of do that here. Okay, we're finally done the forehead. No more struggling. Well, there's gonna be a lot more struggling, but anyway, it's time for the eyebrows. I always use upward strokes starting the eyebrow. I don't know why I'm doing this. You guys want to know why I flip my pencil so freaking much between my fingers? There's actually a science behind it. The weight of the pencil multiplied by the gravity of the angle I'm holding it divided by the lead thickness, and then you subtract the fact that I made this all up, and you'll get the answer that I'm a complete lunatic and need the sharpest side of the lead, even though I'm working with a 0.2 millimeter of a surface. That's it. It's easy. Just so y'all know too, I didn't even speed that up. That was my actual voice talking in actual real time. So with eyebrows, it's better to lay a bunch of lighter lines down first and then kind of go like smudge it a little bit and then put some darker value lines in than just trying to draw on the eyebrows like super heavy. It doesn't look as like fine and airy as eyebrows do. It kind of looks like you plastered them on, and I'm guilty of this. Like if you look through my Instagram feed, some of my portraits have that, and then other ones have like the pretty little, airy little eyebrows that it looked like someone like, microbladed, that I'm super jealous of. Intermission! Here's a video of my hand and why you should probably use some tracing paper or another piece of paper over your drawing where your hand is so it doesn't look like this. Also, if any of you have noticed this rad bracelet that I've been wearing through this tutorial, it's by Sticks and Stones. She does jewelry, handbags, and accessories, and you can go shop online at www.stickstonestyle.com. And you can follow her on Instagram at stickstonestyle. And there goes another finger smudge. It's like my brain was like, good job, Chelsea, you did a good job. You finished the eyebrow. Let's just screw it up so you have to go back into it, shall we? So I went a little heavy on the top of the eyebrow, so I'm just kind of erasing a little bit of a highlight and throwing in some more finer lines to make it look like it's hair growing naturally and not just like it was just like stuck there. Just so you guys know, that was the original power zoom before Instagram ripped it off. Can I say that? Am I gonna get like blacklisted on Instagram now? Okay, now we are back to the lid. So right now I'm throwing in some values because this is the part that's like underneath the eyebrow, but like in between the part that bulges out from your actual eyeball. So there's a shadow there. So the reason why I have to keep going over this spot is I suspect finger oil. Okay, and now we are on to the crease of the eyelid. This is probably one of my favorite parts, and I have no reason why. It just is. It's just one of my favorites. Maybe it'll be yours too. I always start with the shadow and work my way into the lighter areas. I feel like it's easiest to do this when you're working with tortillions. Again, my deepest apologies for not giving a brief description on each of my materials. The secret to value control in the eye area is this, going from top to bottom. Highlight, eyebrow, baby highlight, shadow, highlight, major shadow, baby highlight, eyelashes, eye, baby highlight, shadow, and bottom lashes, dark circles, baby highlight, and cheekbone. I guess the least I can do is just at least tell you what this thing I'm using is, because it's the greatest gift to mankind. It's called a Mono Zero elastomer eraser, but it's like super fine. I think it's like 2.3 millimeter. Actually, I know it's that much because I'm reading it right now. Yeah, but it's 2.3 millimeter eraser, so you can get just like the small little lines, aka how I'm doing this baby highlight of the eyelid. I am an idiot, and I started just recording this, and I started saying, now we're on to the pupil, but the pupil is the center part of the eye. So now we're on to the iris. Woo! I always start the iris lining it with like dark value. Generally, the rule of thumb of eyes is like the outermost ring of the iris is a little bit darker, then it gets a little bit lighter, and then it's the pupil. But just look at the eye, because everyone has like, different colorations. So even though when you look at an eye, it's like the white part of an eye, doesn't mean in your drawing it has to be stark white. So I normally will like shade this part out and then just kind of like pull out some highlights. Because the iris bulges out of the actual eyeball, there's always going to be like a little bit of a highlight ring right next to the shadow part of the iris. And here I'm just pulling some directional lines. Again, if you look at an eyeball, it's kind of like a radial striation of different colors and, stripes, if you will. The reference photo that I'm actually using, she doesn't have any highlights on her actual eyeball, just the way that like the lighting is. So normally you would pull out a highlight like in the iris area, but since this one doesn't have it, I can't really show you. I mean, I guess I could have made it up, but then I wouldn't be doing it properly. But I will pull out little baby highlights just to show that she kind of has like a hazel eye. And this is kind of like the green part that I'm signifying. And then I'll go ahead and pull some darker values too. Okay, we are on to the bottom lashes. So here you will see me do my shadow thing again, you know, starting with the darkest value, kind of just smudging it with my tortillon, and then I will pull out the highlight of the piece of the eyelid that touches your eyeball. I have a super special tutorial coming right after this one for you guys. I can't talk about it too much, but super special. It's gonna be awesome. Now I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but again, pulling out highlights with my Mono Zero eraser. Whee! So since my last tutorial, I actually found out what this part of the eye is called. I mean, besides calling it a tear duct, it's called a caruncle. And no, ladies and gentlemen, it's not my uncle, it's not your uncle, it's caruncle. And here's that baby highlight I was talking about earlier, making its debut. Dun dun dun! The moment you've all been waiting for! The eyelashes! The hardest part to draw on the eye! The pesky little hairs that fall on your eye and torture you slowly! Woo! But in all seriousness, if you've watched it this far, thank you. I applaud you. You deserve this. You really do. You deserve this. So eyelashes, yeah. Those pesky little things. Group them if you can. Don't try and draw every single one like I'm kind of doing here. Just group them, clump them. You know, it looks more natural that way instead of just having all these like little spider legs coming out of your eye. Go at different angles, you know, different lengths, whatever. It's hair. At the end of the day, it's hair. So I'm blurring this out with my tortillon so it's not as like crazy stark with just like all these little lines. It just looks softer that way. And bottom lashes, even worse than the top. No, I'm kidding. I actually really like the bottom lashes. It's a little easier. You don't have to draw as many of them. You can group them a little tighter. They're not as like crazy dark. And you can blur them even further with your tortillon and make them look like they're not at all there if you really want to. So I always struggle with this part on trying to make it look as real as you can without it looking ridiculous. But in the end, it is a corner of the eye, so it should stop at one point. So lately I've just been doing kind of like a dark blurred shadow and having the lashes kind of touch and meet to close off that corner. So a few more finishing touches, just making sure that the values are smooth with my tortillon, taking on a few more highlights with my kneaded eraser and my Mono Zero eraser, and then there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget about my super special tutorial coming up next. Check you later.